No.
So, Andy, good evening. I've been doing these in the afternoon. Not gonna lie, my energy level says I should do it in the afternoon. How are you doing
Yeah,
today?
I'm glad we're meeting in the evening because I can sit back and have a drink.
Well, that works too. So, I'm actually really glad that you're at home because I can't remember if you answered this. The Sven Coombs jersey. Have you worn it?
Oh, hell no.
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 Smelled it?
Um,
On.
I wish that I could share the smell with you.
I thought you were gonna say
It
I wish you smelled it. I was gonna be very let down.
it has like this weird like cat piss smell almost. Like Svenny's got some weird smelling sweat, man.
I'm just wondering, like, is it him or is that like the shipping container?
It's him.
Him. Don't ruin it. It's him. Did I ever tell you, like, right after you got that jersey, I was like, that was like peak Teddy Tuma time for me.
Ooh.
And I don't remember what it was. I think it was on eBay. There was like a game worn signed uniform by him, and they went for like $80. And I got furious. Furious. Like, why didn't I think of that like 3 days ago?
Have you ever gone back out and looked to see if you could acquire something similar?
I totally should. I mean, this sounds really bad. Teddy is much of a legend he's to me. He's kind of lost his luster.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
Do
he's
you do you have
injured.
a do you have like a new girl that's come in and replaced Teddy?
No, I don't.
I mean, I saw those Hanny Mukhtars in your gallery.
I
Like, what's going on?
hate that card so much.
You have two of them.
No, that was 1 week and like one in season, probably 3 months ago, and he had like two or three straight really good home matches. Because
Mm.
Nashville does that whole thing. I think it's like country music festival. They have to go away, or
I
the
didn't know
country.
that was a thing.
It's something. They start the season out with like a lot of road games due to like a concert series or something along those lines. And they always will get this like run where there's like five straight home games. So, you know.
It's funny. I thought that was because, like, I remember that from like 3 years ago, but I thought that was because they were building a new stadium.
No, I think it's just like
It's a normal
some
thing, huh?
I think it's just like the pecking order of the MLS on American venue things. And they're like,
Yeah.
there are 72 events that we care about before the MLS's team game. But Vancouver does that too. I don't know what that is, but they always have to go. You remember this year? What was it? They played on like an island or something like that in the CCL, the CONCACAF champion. It was like, I don't have it. We're not here to have the actual facts behind stuff. But they did not have their first two like home matches at their home, and it was like some sort of like minimal capacity type of thing. I just remember reading that because I was considering getting a gold
Yeah.
expected, but yeah. Um, God, there was something else I was gonna say to you before you did the Hanny Mukhtar thing. Oh, you were asking me, is there anybody in my gallery that I
Yeah, is
like?
there a new girl in town?
I don't, I don't think so, which is kind of disappointing. But like, do you think the game is different now because there's just so many more players on the platform, and now we're so obtainable to get most cards. I don't like unless you play unique. I don't think that there's many like super rares out there right now that you couldn't just go get.
Yeah, the game's different in that sense. I remember when they first brought MLS on.
Hmm.
I remember talking to a couple of my friends. This is before, I met Laird and Gator and everyone. And I remember talking to a few of my friends, and if I was like, if I could just get a rare Vela, it would like it would be like the coolest thing ever. He's going to be the best card on the platform. All I need is a rare Vela, and maybe I can get like an Atuestus as well, or like a Rossi was like another card that was just like, but those cards at the time, man, were legit like unattainable.
Smash rares, yeah.
They were over one ETH, and we're talking when other cards were nowhere near that, and it was 1 ETH to go get maybe more for Carlos Vela.
Dude, I still remember talking, like, even before I met you when I, like, first was on the platform considering, like, what to buy. I was like, "I can't even play MLS," which is, like, my favorite league because the good guys are too good and too expensive. Like, but it was like Vela, Ladero, that one hurts. You were a Ladero boy, weren't you?
Well, it didn't hurt because I won a lot with him, but yeah, I had bought his like one of his first super rares on the platform.
Yeah.
But I mean, I got to ride the entire first year of him just absolutely smashing,
And
and then
then
we
being
got a knee
injured for 2
injury.
years, 2 years in a
Yeah,
row. And now
yeah.
I did the people actually think he was gonna be good in Orlando? Because like, I thought when that happened, I was like, "Okay, he was riding the bench," but then I saw people like, "Oh, he's gonna do great." It's like, "Sure about that?"
Yeah, it was weird because like I think people just thought that hey, maybe he'll play some.
I
And
think it was bigger expectations than that.
really, yeah,
I think I think in general, on So Rare specifically, we are really, really, really tardy to the dustiness of people. You know,
yeah,
like that I mean, that's the whole Dusan Dusty touch, right? Because you remember what people said when he left Ajax and went to Turkey?
no,
Oh my god, he's gonna smash. It's like, well, he was actually like the best card you could get,
right.
but we're still like, oh, he didn't die. Like,
Well, that's just that like that situation right there. I've seen happen like 100 times on the platform now, where a guy is in a complete smash spot, and then he moves, and people are like, "Well, it's an even better situation, like the Brunetta situation, right?
yes, that's
Oh, he's on a shit team, and now he's gonna go to an even better team, and he's gonna get all the sets, and he's gonna be like, no, and situations change. Like change is generally bad for
bad.
people unless it's like they're in a bad situation and they're getting a change.
Well, the one time I think that, like, so I'm actually gonna bring up somebody that you and Andy called me out on stream. Like,
Oh boy,
you were being all nice. You guys were like, I think Gator guy, I think he's a little bit sharp. And I'm on my walk, getting my silver steps in. I'm like, oh, look at my guys. And then I'm not even through, like, in my neighborhood, not even around like another block, and I hear this, like, so yeah, there's this you would think that if you're buying a team and they have like one of the best midfielders on the platform, that you should buy him, but Keith didn't. I'm like, whoa, I thought I was sharp like 20 steps ago.
well, you're still sharp. It's just
That one
like
hurt.
well, I mean, you should probably buy that player, right?
So you know what's funny? So the reason I was going to bring that up was not just like to go come out of nowhere with it, but what you were just saying there with, like, you don't want anything to change. You guys brought it up, or chat brought it up, and then it just got disregarded, like news that you didn't want to see. Somebody's like, "What will happen with when Isco comes back?" And that's a great question because
Yeah,
Isco was like one of the best players on So Rare in La Liga last year. And all of a sudden you get these competition for roles, and everybody's like, "Oh no, they'll just get better." It's like, no, no. Like, when you've got a
yeah,
guy, but that's the Brunetta,
right. Yeah.
right? Like at
No, that's a good point.
Santos. Like,
Yeah,
if everybody goes, "Oh my god, that guy is so much better than me. Let me just pass him the ball." But then you get two of them, and it's not that good of a team. There's one ball.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
one guy gets
It's
to trot over the corner kicks.
it's like fantasy NFL when you have two elite wide receivers on one team. They're taking away each other's or the what was it when you have a running back that
Yeah, the running back by committee thing.
no, just a running back that steals all the goal line touches and gets all the
Oh my!
touchdowns. Yeah.
I mean, what were we joking about with the bus recently? Oh,
Jerome
no, Bettis.
Bettis.
Oh, because
Yeah.
of me saying like 97 different ways
Right.
to say Betis, and
Yeah.
that little compilation that Laird put together, I watched it like 7 times on 2x speed, and I mean,
Yeah.
everything is more enjoyable on 2x speed. Have you ever listened to the Sober Andrews show song on 2x speed?
No.
You need to. It's better.
No. That's
It's
crazy. I can't believe
it's
that you
better.
do it.
It's so much
Like
better.
I try to listen to like you mentioned 2x speed, and I tried to listen to like books and podcasts and stuff. I can't do it. My brain can't keep up. I'm trying to drive my car and listen to something at 2x. Like, I'm gonna wreck.
I will get every once in a while. What I was listening to a book today on 1.7. I had it on 2. I tamed it down to 1.7. I understand. I might actually have like an illness.
1.2 is my sweet spot. I
So
run it at 1.2.
so just so you know, in your hierarchy to craziness, I started out for a solid year on 1.25. Then I'm like, let's let's see what 1.5 is like. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Cheating time a little bit, and then before you know it, just keep going. I've tried
yeah,
2.5 speed, and I don't see enough of a difference. I think they just lied. I don't think they can actually speed it up that fast
yeah.
and not be gibberish.
Um, I don't think people want to hear us talk about 1.22x. I think they want to hear about the bone I got to pick with you,
Let's
Keith.
go.
And the safe guests that you brought onto uh homie so far. They're very safe. I
Yep.
want
Yep.
I want the guy with the dingy mic uh that has questionable political views. Like,
What, like this, like it's a gambling platform? He comes out and he's like, just so you know.
hey, I want some wild cards. I This is gonna be my Friday listen. I want
Okay.
some wild cards in here.
So here's the deal. One thing, definitely getting reps, right? Like I have taped
Right.
many of a podcast in my car alone with receipts of the odds. It's very different than like I told Laird after this, after what, two? Like, dude, what you do every single day is like pretty impressive. Like, even though it's just talking and like talking to
Yeah,
people that you know.
Laird's a pro. He is a
Dude,
pro.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not. I mean, obviously, I've been on many streams. The guest seat is actually pretty easy.
Oh yeah.
You're just like, if it sucks, you're like, dude, it's your fault.
Well, no. If it sucks, I just you just sit there and you don't have to really do
Well, it's
anything.
not your show. It wasn't your
Right.
show.
Laird's the one that's got to come up with the transitions and the next question and the next thing to talk about. Um, like from our perspective, being his guest, dude, we just get to chill.
Yeah, we're just like go. I do think after doing a few of these too, though, that live chat is actually a cheat as well,
Mm,
because you a really good like podcast, especially like Prime and Soda, where we're talking about the same thing over and over again. Chat just spices it up. Somebody drops either like a really good point, you're like, oh, I want to talk about that, or you're like, wow, that is such a terrible point. Let's talk about that. You
right.
could go both ways with it. Um, but no, I mean, Laird's a pro. I will. I see what you're talking about. I get it. I will tell you, I was going low hanging fruit to start.
Yeah.
People I know, people I'm like, yep, I can go on. Don't have to be too nervous about bringing them on. Have conversation. You and I have never done just the two of us.
I believe that. Yeah.
We
That
Do you
seems
remember we were supposed to do one, and then you and Maxine get into an actual like Discord brawl
Oh,
over. Do you remember who? Do
no,
you remember who?
no.
You remember
Well, it was Marvin, wasn't it?
No,
Well,
no.
it was wasn't he talking some
He was
smack
a
about the
much.
MLS?
I mean, he always talks smack about the MLS. That's not anything that you should get offended over. You got offended because Matt Ryan was a first place prize, and he was like, "Well, that's the end of the platform."
Wait,
Essentially,
I didn't get offended.
no,
I thought
you. The whole, if I remember right with the argument, and I could be wrong, but it was essentially that if Matt Ryan's the first place prize for a weekend, what are we doing here? Was
right.
HG's point.
That was his stance.
That was his point. He's like, it wasn't good enough.
Right.
Now, now we look back at it. That was like probably 2 grand, a 2 grand card.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was like point 0.6, whatever point 0.6 ETH was at the time. It was right around there. It was a starting uh, goalkeeper for one of the better teams in Netherlands. I mean, I think that was you and I's points. Like this is so rare. Like you want goalkeepers. Goalkeepers the most expensive. That's okay. But his whole thing was, remember, goalkeepers just should not have this artificially high value, which looks like a good argument as we transition.
Yes, I mean, in the end, you want the card that's worth the most money, and at the
Right,
time, if that card was worth more than, uh, I don't know, Jude or something, give me the Matt Ryan, and
right.
I'll go buy
I'll go
Jude.
buy Jude and I'll
Yeah,
go buy Danny Carvajal with him. Why not? There's my
right,
little box back then. But no, I mean I'm with you on that. I just remember what I would give for those arguments back by the way.
right, yeah, 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 yeah.
Like that would be a fun thing to argue about. Now instead we're arguing like actually I wanted to ask you this. I was thinking about this right before I went on. On a box, I think I know your answer, but I want to actually argue with it.
Okay.
Essence or market credit?
Um, I've been really enjoying the market credits. As
Okay, I
awkward as it,
thought you would have said us Essence. Okay.
yeah. The market credits are nice because for a couple of reasons, but the main reason is it feels like I'm getting half price off whatever card I want to buy. And I've been buying a lot of limiteds lately because I don't have a very extensive limited gallery. So
Oh,
yeah. And it's honestly it's kind of a problem with the platform that a like a user like me
can buy limiteds.
is buying limiteds right now.
Yeah. There almost should be like a whether it's like a gallery valuation or the amount of games you've played limit that's like,
Yeah.
all right, you have reached 100,000 competitions entered. You're not gonna play limited anymore. Move up or move out. They would
Well,
never do it. They wouldn't do it for
yeah,
that reason.
but
But
it's absurd is what it is.
I
And
disagree.
like I just recently had I podiumed in a limited competition, $400 or something. Like I'm not winning that even in a super rare competition.
Yeah. It's limited is kind of such a weird space. Like it didn't fully rationalize to me how like weird limited has gotten until I realized I like had a lineup with like a limited goalkeeper, two or three rares, and a super rare. I'm like, this is this is kind of bad. Even though like
Yeah.
there's no extra power or layered, what was it? Last night or the night before was like showing me a couple lineups and his absolutely beautiful Evander super rare. He
Yeah.
had in a rare in season lineup. And I literally responded back, "You can't do it."
Wait,
He,
Laird has a Evander super rare?
that he won that in the competition like 2 weeks ago. I missed it too.
What?
It's a beautiful card, man. God,
Jesus.
that's a beautiful
And
man right
and
there.
he won't even go out and buy the Midgetland Evander to complete his collection,
I
right?
mean, he definitely should have to after that karma that he got of get. But so I was telling him because like the super rare, he didn't have like enough to do like an in season super rare, but he was like looking at classic. And he's like, or I can do this with an in season Evander. And I'm like, you can't do that to that type of card. Like that's
No,
just
you need to
disrespect.
you
That's
need to sell
disrespect.
that freaking card.
But you agree with me, right? Like that you can't
Yeah, that's
disrespect like a top. I mean, you could argue, and I don't even think you're like. I don't even think it's a bad argument. You could argue he's the best player in America in the MLS in terms of SO5.
yeah, yeah, potentially, sure.
Like him, Pooch, Cucho, Messi,
Yeah, right. It's they're all in the same conversation.
right? You're just like, I bet I could go pull 10 server managers and probably get somebody to pick each one of them. Messi, you
Yeah,
maybe just don't have to worry about sitting as much. Or I'm sorry,
right.
Messi, you always have to worry about if he's going to sit. Then you go put him in a crap lineup like I did.
Yeah.
Happens. Happens.
Messi's a fun one. Messi tends to play. He tends
Oh,
to play.
because he walks a lot.
Yeah.
He's really into Sora steps, not Sora runs, steps.
Right. Right.
Doop, doop, doop.
And if he could get by with so rare sits, he would get by with so rare sits.
Oh, don't sell him though. He's got more motivation than our good friend Sean PSU fan sits too.
Yeah.
He's got a little more motivation. So Andy, I mean, take away from Sorare because we've talked too much about Sorare, and that's not really what we do on this show. I want to talk
Fair
about you,
enough.
man. I want to talk about you a
Oh,
little bit.
God, let's go.
Well, I either want to you decide which one you answer. I'm gonna give just because you called me out. I'm gonna let you choose which direction we go
I
here.
called you out. Come on.
Yeah, we can go easy route, we can go hard route, we can go both. But so do you want to go how you got into fixing printers for a living or how you got into Sorare?
I'll tell you both.
Let's go.
I don't fix printers for a living.
Based on your Discord conversation, sometimes I feel like you do.
Yeah. I'm I'm in the IT world and like I grew up uh as a kid, played a lot of computer games, got interested in computers, built computers, first job out of school, well, went to school, dropped out of school, went to
Which
tech
school?
school.
Which school?
Um I'd rather not say it to be honest.
Okay.
I'll explain that later.
Florida.
Um
Since I'm a Gator, I'll just say Florida State.
sure, Florida State. I went to Florida State um actually on a soccer scholarship. Uh
Oh, okay. At least we can now look it up.
Played for a year. Um I hated school. I hated university. Um and I dropped out and I went to tech school. Loved it. Smoked lots of cigarettes, drank lots of alcohol.
I've seen the
Uh
pictures. There
and
are receipts of that.
yeah, yeah, and um whatever. Went into the IT world and rest is history, I guess.
And now, hold
Um
on. The God, the irony of that story that just hit me. It's not like you work at a school.
right,
I just
exactly.
think how much you hate school. Like,
Not only have I worked not only do I work at a school, I've worked in education now for the past 17 years.
so how did that happen?
Um I started in K-12
Okay.
and I got like a just like a basically a tech job there, like a printer tech, not a printer tech, but like I would run around. A teacher was having issues with her classroom or something. I'd go help her.
Yep. I remember.
Um,
I remember those.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was one of those guys, and I did that for a few years, and then I became like a lead on that team, and then like an admin, and I kind of like peaked at that school district, and then I moved on to um, university, and now I'm in higher ed, and started off like as a system engineer. People don't care about this, and now I'm like over like our help desk and stuff, like a
Okay.
director. So uh, it's fun stuff, fun work. Um, yeah. Now you want to hear how I got into sorare?
I do.
Okay, so it all began.
Way back when.
It all began in probably like 2017. I started mining Ethereum.
Okay.
And I had like all these rigs in my basement, like down here where I'm at down here, and GPUs basically earning me Ethereum. And I started to accumulate a good amount of ETH, and didn't. I was like, okay, now what? I just sit here with it, and oh, I make money. Cool. Found like a cool baseball project where they were basically so rare with baseball cards. Played that for a while. That's where I met Jimmer. It's where met YNWA Mark. Um, Probably a few other people. Surface to air missile.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah,
service.
yeah, yeah. Cal. I don't know. People probably don't know him very well, but met a whole bunch of people there that are on so rare now. And that company, like people. I think part of the reasons why like I'm defensive of like so rare a lot of times, like might come off as just like too defensive for them, is I experience like what a really really shitty company can do to their IP,
Okay.
and I got to experience that with this MLB product. And it was like abusive how bad they treated that license. They they had like another game, like the team was like just using the baseball product to kind of like just like keep their company going.
Yep.
And then they were investing all their money that they had into like the space game that they were making. It was another crypto game. And they had
Okay.
like the Star Trek license. It was so stupid. But any rate, I've met awesome people like in that space. Mark stumbled upon sorare. I don't know, he became friends with Nicholas or something. And Mark was pitching it to all of us as just like, hey, it's basically this MLB game, but with soccer stuff.
Right.
And I checked it out. And I was just like, oh shit, it's they got the Belgian license. Like, what the hell is this?
That
And
was
like,
it, right? That was the only license.
it was, and
Yeah.
they got West Ham like
West
pretty
Ham.
early. They got West Ham pretty early, but uh, initially, like, I got 5 free cards. Uh, and I can remember a couple of them. Daichi Kamada,
Okay. Still
good
living
card.
back in the
Yep,
Prem. Back in
yep.
the Prem now.
Haji, uh,
Yes.
plays with Rangers. His dad's like a legend. But his card's not shit.
He's
Like
never been
it's
good. He's not,
yeah,
he always has a glimpse that you're like, oh,
yeah. I
I saw him
remember
take a corner kick.
I remember though what did it for me. Like like I didn't play for like 3 months or 4 months or something.
Okay.
And Surface and Jimmer, I think, were playing a little bit and dabbling. And I was just like, this is stupid. I don't know who any of these people, like Belgian people, are. And uh like I was very disinterested. But all it took was me to play like 2 competitions. And I got insanely lucky. And if this didn't happen, I probably wouldn't even like I wouldn't be here now. But I played some shitbag lineup.
Your brand.
I think that I even had like a DNP goalkeeper.
Okay.
Um, but what is his name? Old midfielder Snodgrass that played for West
Yes.
Ham.
Yes.
I had his card. I captained him, and I'm pretty sure my lineup had like 2 DMPs in it. But old Snotty went off for like 2 goals and an assist, and propelled me all the way up to like 4th place or something.
Okay.
Now this is such early days of Sorare. You didn't need that great of a score to win.
Right. Right. There's like, how many lives do you think there would? Just guess.
It was probably like 30 lineups or
Okay.
something, maybe less, maybe less.
Okay.
But I had the right guy and I had him captained. And there was no 100 point cap. So everybody's like imagining, oh, okay, well, you scored 100 with this player. No, there was no 100 point cap. The system worked completely different. It was uncapped. And basically, if you wanted to win, you needed to have Snodgrass that week.
Got it. Only a
And
few people had him, obviously, too, because it was super scarce at that point as well.
exactly, exactly. So I finished like 4th or something, and I won a Simon Mignolet,
Now you got
which
a
at the time,
goalkeeper,
right now I have a goalkeeper, but at the time he was like a point two ETH or point two or point three ETH card,
which was
and I
like
was like,
$9 at that time.
yeah, something like that. But I was like, wait a minute, like I like that connected the dots for me. Like, hey, no, I can win something of value. And I think what even connected it further was like I had a couple people reach out to me and make me offers for the card. They're like, "Hey, I saw you won that card," and I'm like, "Whoa! It has value. There's
Right,
value
right.
to this thing."
Somebody wants it, whether the value monetary, like people want this.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, from that point on, I bought a whole bunch of other really crappy cards. Like they got the Madrid license, and I never bought anyone good from any of these teams. I like
Hold
I
on,
would
Atletico, right? Not
Yeah,
Real. Okay.
right, right. But I would just buy like I would watch the market like pretty regularly. And anytime there was a card that was just like I felt like it was going for like too cheap, I would just scoop it up and buy it.
Yeah.
But the strategy was not like buy good cards because I didn't know who a lot of these players were. It was Belgian League, some West Ham cards, I think Atletico, and that was like it at the time.
Right.
So I was scooping some of these guys up, and then COVID hit.
Replays.
COVID hit, and I got really bored, and that's where I like fell in love, I guess, with like world soccer. It was just like, all right, well, now I need to do some research. I'm researching these Belgian guys. Like literally my job at work, it got busy because like we had to transition all of our workers from like, on-prem uh, on-prem stuff to working from home, and we
Right.
needed to teach transition like all the technology in our classrooms from like like our instructors needed to be able to teach from not teach from the classroom anymore, but be able to teach via Zoom, via
Mhm.
whatever. So like it was really busy getting that transitioned, but after that, it's slowed down to like
It
a
was just cruise
halt.
control, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of my time was spent like, oh, I'm gonna research these random Belgian guys. And that's when the platform like started to like even though it was COVID, like they started to like really
Mhm.
uh, hit the ground running, I guess. And that's when they fired up their replay weeks, which basically, like, if people don't know what those were, it was just like you would set your lineups and then be like, all right, we're replaying game week 62. And basically, all of your players in your lineups would
Got
get the
that fun.
scores from game week 62. And then whoever won from there wins. And that would be your midweek. Um, and then they would
Something.
do
It's
this.
something.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do the same thing on the weekends, but dude, people loved it because you'd be strategizing it and you'd be looking. Everyone had spreadsheets. Everyone was correlating which players worked
Yeah.
best on which game weeks. Like it was insane.
I would have loved that way too much.
Yeah, but yeah. So from there, after COVID, the first games that started to come back were the Germany games,
Yep.
and
Yep.
during
Kai. That was good
yes,
Kai. That was good Kai.
that was good guy,
That was set
and
piece
he's
taking, number 10.
I
Everything
still
goes to him. Hey, dude, that was like what we were talking about with Lo Celso and like Oviedo. Like that was that Kai.
yeah yeah um you know and that was the fun part too. They picked up, I don't know if it was during COVID, but they picked up the Leverkusen license,
Okay.
and I think they had the Schalke license.
Yep, that makes sense. So Weston McKennie.
Right.
They probably
That
had
was
an actual
McKinney.
good player. They probably had a good player, but that's the only player I can think of.
They had like a uh they had a center back that I think was good.
Yeah. But that this is
Any
what happened
rate,
to the center backs. We don't remember their name. Continue.
yeah. Any rate, they like when German football came back, it was like shit, we can make real lineups now. So then there was a rush to buy all the Leverkusen
Oh
cards, the
yeah.
Leon Baileys, the Diabys, the Kai Havertz. The platform really like took off at that point. Like football is back, and that then they started getting more licenses,
Yep.
and yeah,
Then Laird came on and then we boomed. It
right.
wasn't anybody else. It was Andrew Laird.
Well, Laird brought a lot of people
He brought
from DFS.
I say that like jokingly, but there
Uh
was a
huh.
lot of bigger type of accounts and things like that that came. That's Sean. There's a number
Yeah,
of
like
other DFS people.
does Sean come if Laird doesn't?
Probably, I would say no. Sean will probably tell you there's a way he finds it.
Right.
I was on the hunt, but no, I
Mhm.
mean there was a lot of people because Laird was. I say that jokingly. I said that jokingly because there's a scary guy that everybody
Yeah.
gets the credit to, but we could give it to Laird. We
Yeah,
would
it's a
have.
Laird boom.
But no, that's like crazy to think about. But that's I was a little bit before Gary Vee. Do you remember, by the way, at that time how commons worked?
Sort of.
So it's funny how we said the limited thing where we joked some amount of competitions and you're out. Common actually was that. You got 8 weeks in Common League and then you were done.
Oh, that is, yeah, I do remember
It
that.
was it was literally buy these rare cards or get the hell out of here. They wouldn't
Right.
let you do anything else. And
Yeah.
I remember being like in a panic, and I don't even remember why I was in a panic. I was like, "Oh, I can't play this," because I was starting to enjoy it. I had a Tadic common. I was like, "Oh, this is kind of fun." Now I got to buy a card.
Yeah.
Rest is history, though.
Yeah, they had lots of like early days, they had lots of issues with onboarding and like finding the sweet spot because they wanted to reward people that were playing those common competitions, but they didn't want like that to get exploited and have to give away way too many cards.
Yep. But no, it was 8. It was 8, and then you had to get going. And at that point, it was getting kind of pricey even before the Gary boom. I still remember. Oh man, I still remember being in a um in a parking lot, where a lot of my sorare stories are, and buying a Rio Hatate for, but like he was playing like left back in the
Yeah.
J League as a
Yep.
forward card.
Mhm.
I remember buying him for like point 0.2 ETH, which I'm like, this is insane. What am I doing? I've just barely been on the site now. I'm spending $560. And then a day later, I got offered like point 0.4 something ETH. I'm like, okay, might have something here.
Right, right.
That's
Yeah.
why I flipped. That's why I flipped for a while. I was like, well, if these are just I'm gonna buy them here and then it's gonna be there. I should probably just keep doing that for a little bit.
Those were the days you didn't even have to do anything smart. You just bought some shit, and then, like, 3 days later, you were like, "Oh, it's worth more now."
So I said this to you. It's the truth. I said this to you, and Andy on like one of the first pods I ever went on with you guys. But you know what? One of my first cards was a Gravenberch,
Okay.
Denzel.
Oh. Nice. I'll
Everybody's
be
like,
honest, I don't even know who that is, I just know that it's not
guess what?
Ryan
You're not
Gravenberch.
supposed to. You're not
Yeah,
supposed
right.
to. I think he scored a goal for Sparta. And again, not list for play back then either. He scored a goal for Sparta. Let me see how much I can get for this card, and just insane stuff.
Looking back on Lister play, like, what are your thoughts?
Tell me more. Elaborate on that, because I have lots of thoughts, but
Yeah, so, I mean, like, initially, I think that, that was pretty hated change. People thought it
I
was
still hate it. I still think
very
it's the worst.
manipulative.
Horrible.
Yeah. I think it like, personally, like, to this day, I still think it actually makes sense.
Can I just say something real quick? I
Yeah,
say horrible because I knew what it was before.
right.
If it was always list or play, no gripes, makes complete sense. Because guess what? I think a lot of people that came on the platform thought that that was the case. But I say horrible because I probably one of my single biggest regrets on the platform is not exploiting the living crap out of the fact that it wasn't list or play,
Yeah.
and just like, I remember being on the platform when I got on, obviously DFS mindset, and I think enough people kind of know me from some of the streams to know, yeah, I like to either, Sean calls it fancy, I call it just looking really deep into matchups and things like that. But like, I'm not afraid to, if I think there's a guy that's a better matchup than Lionel Messi, to go play that other guy and put Messi into a lesser lineup. But I think
I
there
think I
was
think Laird was actually poking fun at you at that for that
he
today.
was he was
Yeah.
it's a stream for another week that
Okay.
we'll talk
Yeah.
about with it. But I think there was a ton of big time rewards, and like when the rewards were worth like stupid amounts of money, that could have been won if you were like one away. You were one matchup away.
Yeah.
Just buy the card, and at 10:01 list the card. And the craziest thing for that longest time was, if you were right and the matchup was good, you're selling the card for at minimum what you paid for it. More than
Right.
likely, it's more. Because
Yeah.
remember, oh God, Andy, go back in the time machine. I still remember. Funny you brought up Hanny Mukhtar, and I'm going to bring him back up. Hanny, when he came to the MLS, was really good for a little bit, and then he went on this like horrific run. He got benched for a while, and there's this game I won't forget it, at Atlanta United. So he's away. You can do this away, Andy. You can definitely do it at home. And Atlanta was pretty decent at the time. He scores 2 goals in the first like 25, 35 minutes. And I snatched up a rare, two, I think. And there was probably like 8 or 9 on the market. Andy, you remember the old days though? If somebody scored a goal, uh doop, 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 doop,
Yeah.
all the little
Yep, yep.
buy buttons.
Yeah.
Doop, 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 doop. And you're just like, if you're trying to flip them, you're just like, come on, get my transfer and process over. I want to get this up back on the market because if it had been another 10 minutes and the goals went away, people forgot about it. But it was just that instant like sofa score notification, and now there's a run on the player.
Right, now let me check so rare. Oh my gosh, there's some on sale and this seems too cheap. Buy
Or
it.
like, God, me and you've made a couple of these jokes, like peak so rare, but like peak so rare was MOS night. Who was the one guy? I think it was William Yarborough. Bring him up way too much. I think he got knocked out, like a head, and it was like I think the backup goalkeeper wasn't there, and I think it was like this guy named like Abraham Rodriguez. He was like 16 years old. He comes in and looks like this, like, and his cards, just just
It's like they're
gone.
never gonna allow him to be in
Like
goal ever
And like
again.
I'm watching the game, and they're like, he just got brought up from. I'm blanking from making this up. Like Tacoma, he was an
Well,
emergency
I believe it
call.
would have been the Monarchs, right? You said it was it Salt Lake?
Yeah, it was Real Salt Lake. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Colorado Rapids, Colorado.
Oh,
Yarborough was
yeah.
Colorado's.
Sorry.
But like that was like such an insane. And you know what? That still happens a little bit,
Yeah.
but like not to that extent. Like it was like I still remember too. Not just going like the memory time bank. God, what was his name?
Well, it is weird. That league has actually matured quite a bit in the last 3 years.
You mean
Uh,
MLS or
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah. Just like remember Atlanta United had that. It was like a 17 or 18-year-old goalkeeper that was starting in goal for them before Guzan.
why am I blanking?
I don't know, but it was like
I'm
half a
gonna.
season and was
I'll.
on Surrey as well.
You mean just the fact that when somebody gets injured, we're not bringing in like a kid that that just like started puberty?
Yeah, yeah. Like there's actually grown adult men that can, play.
Yeah. I mean, Slonina though. Remember, we thought Slonina was that, and he's never been like reached like crazy heights, but he's on what 3 or 4 European teams now. Kept
Yeah, I
kept a
mean, to
starting
be fair,
gig.
he was good enough to go to Europe. Yeah,
I mean, good enough to start. Like even if you go, it's like where was it? I can't even think of the couple teams that he's been on. That haven't been great teams, but he's kept the gig.
yeah. He was in Belgium at
I know it wasn't Courtray. I want to say, yeah, I can't think of which one it was.
yeah.
But like I still remember this one morning, like the first Belgium league start day. You know, so I'm not going to try to say the name because I still can't say it right. You're just going to stand there. You're like, oh, I'm going to make him say it. I don't know how to. But Nuruddin was starting for oh god, whatever that what team has like the black and silver logo? Can't remember. But he was like a surprise starter. I'm like sitting there. Should I buy him? Under 23. Is this just a fluke? And then if you waited,
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, you weren't gonna get him.
those were fun times. There were, and it was like a lot of stuff. I miss those times. Every once in a while, I'll just think back like that was like really, really,
Well,
really fun.
will we get that again?
No,
No.
I mean, I think that you
You think there's
said it. Harry said it last week when I was on with him. They were so hard to get. Like we were all early. There wasn't that many of us on here, but there also wasn't that many cards going around.
yeah.
So like acquiring a rare key, like you would flash like a rare card to your friends that like you've been trying really hard to get. It doesn't. I don't think it carries the same mystique.
You mean
Hey
like your
Andy,
friends in like real life?
no, no,
Hey
no,
guys,
no,
look at
no.
this rare goalkeeper I got.
Have you ever tried this? You've been doing it longer, and you have more like
That's
NFT. Are you
yeah,
into
so that's
NFT?
just
Are you into crypto bros than I do?
it's just not my personality. And I think that like there's a certain sense of I don't know what the word is, but like, like if there's a hot stock out there, and you're giving your friends a stock tip, I've never been one to do that because
Right.
I don't want the responsibility, like the financial responsibility on me. And so it's kind of the same way. Like I might mention it to friends, especially now where there's like rivals. Like I could
Right.
bring that up and show them, and like I have friends and my brother-in-laws, and I know lots of people that play rivals now. But before it was like, oh yeah, no, just it's okay. Just spend 2 grand on a rare goalkeeper, and then you will fill out the rest of your team. You'll be in for like 4 grand for this rare team, but don't worry, you'll earn $50 every week, no matter what.
You literally just hit the nail on the head. What I think I like had one or two friends that I could have invited and do it, and
Mhm.
I'm like, part of me didn't want them to come on and just go, "What the f are you doing? I don't know any of these guys' names, and they're all like $1,000 or $2,000." You're like, yeah, that's
Yeah,
happened.
that's sort of the way this works, okay? But you're gonna get your $50 every week, and you're gonna be happy about it.
Well, that's
It
that's
wasn't
the
even it's not even the part where like I'm embarrassed that like they're not gonna know who these people are, or they're gonna think that it's weird. It's I don't want to be responsible when
for
they lose 2 grand.
that, or just be responsible for them to go, "You're sure about this?"
Yeah.
Because I'm about to buy a 38-year-old goalkeeper, and it says he's $3,000, but I
Hey,
see
let's
like
bring
9,
news on. He'll play for 3 more years.
but I see like 9 other people just paid the same price for him, so it's okay, right? But I see the 9. I need you to be my number 10, Andy. You sure it's okay?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, no, buy Ivasic. He's gonna be great.
Oh man.
Hey, he's come good. He's actually half decent in New England.
Yeah.
Had to
Now,
wait. A lot of
who did I
drama.
tell? Did I tell? Was that the guy I told Laird?
Laird.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
told Laird to buy
yeah,
him.
yeah,
Well, he started in Portland too. Like
yeah.
I
A
got
little
his right a
drama.
year late.
I mean, God, the funniest thing too is that like the amount of people that you would actually be right on if you just had patience, but this game does not. It re it rewards patience, but it
Okay.
doesn't drive patience.
Okay. I've got a fun one for that.
Let's hear it.
Let's go all the way back to what we were talking about with Leverkusen being the only team in Germany. Do you remember when I owned, I think it was like 5 Kai Havertz cards?
Yes.
Part of that was a Discord conversation I had with a few people, and I was like, "Hey, we've seen what happened with João Felix. What if a bunch of us were to buy the Kai Havertz supply up and own a lot of the Kai Havertz cards?" And like at the time, there was probably only like 50 cards on the platform,
Right.
and like if I own 5, 6 of them, you own 2, 3, you own 2, 3, or 4 of them, whatever. There's not going to be any for sale. So we can set the floor price kind of, right? And I remember at the time Sean was like, "Well, he's not a talent like João Felix is."
That, that sounds like the most ridiculous conversation, but completely like valid back then.
Right. Yeah. And like in the end I ended up with like 4 Kai Havertz cards, and I took a loss on I think every single one of them.
Sure. Could you have sold it
But
for a gain when he did the Chelsea move?
um
I have to feel like you could have. Or like you at
no.
least like a fiat gain? No?
No. No. Definitely not. I think the only time that like some sold for way more than they probably should have was when he scored the Champions League winner against Man City. Uh like
Really? That did it after a whole
yes,
season of crap?
yeah, like 3 or 4 sold that day. I remember I remember watching it. So yeah, there's that, but like the interesting thing with that like that card's actually come good. Kai
Yeah,
Havertz is
he's good. He's good for
a
Arsenal.
perfectly usable card to beat Sean's ass in rivals with. Uh, wait, did I say that out loud? Sorry,
You
sorry.
just
I, I did
you just
not
had
mean
to
to say
pay
that
a
out loud.
lot. Unfortunately, you just had to pay a lot of money to have it, right? And wait a long time for it to
Well,
come good.
I think the funny thing there too is like which player has come good between those two. Like João Felix
It's terrible.
is sniffing jock straps in Chelsea, and Kai Havertz is playing on one of the best teams in the EPL, scoring goals. Not saying that he's like the best
No, but
player to own on
he's
sorare or anything,
right, but he's
but he's having a good
legitimately good
career.
and right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a fun conversation. So when you were doing that, was that when João Felix's price was just, the good old like 100 ETH?
It was
João Felix at
around
that
that
time?
time, and I think
Okay.
I think I think João Felix was like it was like, look, this is what can happen
Right.
with a young with a good young player on this platform.
Cherokee. His
Well,
price was
I don't.
crazy during that time too, dude.
Was it the
Yeah,
same time? Yeah,
it got
yeah.
really. I mean, it didn't get to 100 ETH, but but like I mean, Weston McKinney's sold for an ETH.
I sold a Weston McKinney. Like that was one of my best buys ever. I bought one of those Juventus bundles
Oh,
with
okay.
McKinney, Ronaldo, uh Chiesa, uh they had a wing back that was like uh Quadrado,
Yep, yeah, he was good for a while. He was really
and
good
there
for a
was
while.
one more good card in that bundle. Don't remember who it was,
Okay.
but I bought it for like 1.7 ETH, and I was like, oh my god, what am I doing? This is crazy. But this is like right before all the Gary Vee stuff started popping, and it was
Before,
like
okay.
I sold the Ronaldo for 1.5, sold the Chiesa for 1.2, sold the McKinney for like close to an ETH. It was just like, holy shit. But again, this is back in the times when you just buy anything and then you
We literally were
wait a
just
few
trying to
days.
win. I just remember I would look on Sorare. This is before Sorare even had like the live auction thing, and I would try to like look. Here's what's on auction. Here's the guys that are selling less on auction than like what their floor is. If I can get that one, whatever that spread is, I can make it. And like
Right.
literally that was the whole goal. And then it was like it was over. And I was like, oh, how much over? Because I might just need to go buy that other card that that guy is now under listing. Like that was the game.
Yep.
It's a very weird mechanic. Do, do you agree it's better now? Minus like
It's
that
healthier. It's
healthier
healthier. Like that was
mentally too.
well, from the standpoint, like, sure, it was fun to buy a card and then immediately sell it for a profit. But when you look at like the macro of that, someone is getting fucked.
Yep.
And for a platform like this to succeed, we need people not to be getting screwed
Right.
constantly. So I think that the platform's in a state where things are like much more level-headed. Uh like even like the data and stuff that they have on the platform that shows like previous sales valuations and stuff like that. I think is helpful, but I think that like from a health perspective, it's in a much better state.
I agree. I agree. I mean,
It's
and
not fun, but
I think it allows us to be mentally healthier too because God, I still probably talked to you about this. It's amazing on this game, by the way, like how much your memory can remember these like small events. But
Mhm.
I never played the card. And he was like I'll just call him like one of those like OG legend cards for a
Yeah.
bit. Adon, the goalkeeper.
Yeah. Yeah.
I finally got one of him. When you again, like I felt like everybody that was doing content or that was like more publicly done was talking about Adon and Coates. Like,
Mhm.
just get the two of them, you'll be
I've
set.
never I've never owned either of them.
And you're so much better for it.
Well, part of it is like out of jealousy, like
Right.
jealousy at the time was just like shit. Those people
Spite.
got yeah, it was like such a
Well,
good combo.
you know what the worst part too was you like you saw when you had the idea. I had the idea here, and
Yeah.
now I'm ready to act, but they're priced here.
Hmm.
And now I wait again. I'm like, all right, surely they'll go down. And now they're way up here. And you're like, well, now I'm just rooting for them to, so one of them to do
Well,
other D or something.
La Salsa is like probably the same situation for you, right?
Not
You,
really.
you saw it here and it went to here and then it went.
I, on the little salsa thing, like, I know my reason for not doing it, which was dumb, but like, for like what I was doing, again, I could have bought it if I wanted to. Like it wasn't like a money or a balance type of thing. It was literally I didn't want too many La Liga cards. That first weekend that I'm doing this, I'm like, all right, let's just see how this goes. Like if I eat like three DNPs, I'm probably out. I'm probably never telling anybody too much about my plan. Just going like, this was really stupid. Let me get out. And he had just transferred. Like I read some Spanish paper. He wasn't gonna start. So that first weekend that I had it, he wasn't starting anyways. So it's like, okay, I wouldn't have had him for that weekend. But he came on and he got a decisive as a sub. And I probably should have acted. Don't remember why I didn't act at that moment. Then all of a sudden, oh, I buy it. So this makes no sense. I bought his number one of limited that ended up being special edition too, which is a really cool card. I don't know why I didn't buy the rare. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden I get into the next game week. I'm like, oh, I don't have Lo Celso. And then he scored like 2 goals and the price is gone. I'm like, all right, I'm out. I'm like, this this was not meant for me to get like be buying a guy on the up. Like
Right.
this was like a
Right.
budget. Like, can I do this stupid? This is not for me to get invested into a card that I don't. We all know these cards,
Right.
and they don't go like that forever. You're just like waiting for the what is it, the veil to drop, waiting for the like 300s later. I look really stupid,
Yeah.
but in my head I was just like, I should have done it there. I didn't do it. Am I gonna keep chasing or am I just gonna go, no, like I'm just gonna figure this out another way that's a lot more economical. Again, because for me, I'm a weird manager. I don't want the easy way. Like buying him would be really easy. And I'm just like, no, I kind of want to do this. Like, so I bought Alex Baena, which wasn't that much cheaper. So I guess I
Yeah.
think you're right. I think what you just said about that was myself. I just proved that you were correct.
Hmm.
It was just spite. It's just literally spite that I'm not doing it. And now I'm selling the beta stuff. I almost said it wrong.
Yeah.
It's over.
Not to change topics, but I've
Yeah,
got a question that I don't feel like people talk about enough on streams.
let's go. It's a good place for it.
What and I'll answer too, but I want to know what's your do you have an end goal with So Rare?
Nope.
And
I
like
don't have an out strategy. I don't have a
it's
income
funny because
producing.
like do people talk about that in the DFS world? Like what is your end goal with DFS?
No. I mean, I don't want to like bore too much. I recently started playing a lot higher stakes in DFS than I ever have before. Like even when I was doing content, I would play like when I was doing content, I was still playing 200, $300 a slate. So it's not like small amount of money, but it wasn't nosebleed money.
Uh-huh.
Now I have, I just had a MLS slate that I had like $1,700 on, which again, it's not like that's not crazy, but
What
that's my
why
mortgage payment.
why are you
Um,
doing that?
because my time value. I just decided if I'm actually going to spend time, whether it's during my day or at night, to look at it, that I need to get a certain return out. And I had that with So Rare too. The same time, this is like about 2 months ago that I
Mhm.
made the same decision on So Rare, and I realized So Rare is more of a hobby. It's just it's more for fun. Um, it's why I'm doing this podcast. I have no intention of ever trying to garner a dime from this. I just literally, I don't know if you heard this. I think I said it on Laird, the first episode, but I had been considering like, I could do a 1 hour podcast a week, and then you and Laird talk about how Friday's this big hole, and Nellis used to be
Yeah.
there dropping his podcast, and then Nep literally as soon as you get done that pod, he DMs Laird and I, and he's like, "It really is a shame. There's just not as much sober content out there that we can just enjoy." And I'm like, "Well, if you believe in like the universe calling you to do something, kind of think that I'm being called to just try to drop something." And here we are.
Well, I love that you are because there was a gap on Fridays.
Yeah,
And I
I
love
think I
so
think
far So Rare, and like this is like a good format where it's like, hey, bring someone on, talk about So Rare, talk
whatever.
about life, talk about yeah. It's love it.
I mean, just don't talk about. This is no accusations on any of the people doing podcasts out there, but you remember when they were all right. But remember when everybody was talking about how Threshold had to go away? And then you would have people in like the chats going, it's all you content creators. You know why they thought that? Because every content creator was saying the same thing.
Yeah.
It was just like so even if Silver, I'm not one of those. I'm not in the loop. I don't believe this happened. But even if Silver didn't put out the information to talk about this, it sure as hell looked like it. If you
Well,
were just a third party just
right.
staring at it.
Right. And I don't want to say that I am in the loop, but I am one of the people that was like very adamant. Um and I brought it up on my own accord that Sower probably needs to get
Mhm.
rid of this. I can genuinely say Sower was not telling people
Yeah.
to talk about this. I honestly believed it. And like talk about end goal, end strategies, end everything, right?
Right.
Let me say my piece.
I was going to
Um,
ask you.
I want to play Sorare forever.
Yeah.
It's fucking fun. I love
Yeah.
it. Um, and like talking about thresholds, I need Sorare to exist for me to continue to play the
Right.
game. Um, and like I don't, I'm 40 years old now. I don't know if I'm gonna love playing it when I'm 50 years old, but
You
I
do
want
now.
right. I do now, and I want whether I'm playing or not playing to be my decision, not well, we ran out of money. We gave too much away via thresholds.
Yeah.
Um, don't want that. So like for my own personal enjoyment, I want the game to exist. And
Yeah.
uh yeah, like my strategies, like de-risking and all that, like am I gonna sell my gallery ever? Probably not, but like there's ways you see a business struggling, right? They might not be laying people off, but they're not filling positions.
Yep. Yep. They're
And
just
I've
like,
kind of been doing that over the last that's part of my de-risk is well, I might have a need over here, or like, hey, I'm a couple players from a Bundesliga team. Nah, I'm just gonna sell my Kane. I'm gonna sell my Kimmich. That's my way of like de-risking on this
and
platform.
that's a
Is
good
just
way
like
to, by the way, that is the proper way to de-risk too.
attrition,
Um,
right?
yeah, it's just that like as they wear out. Um, God, I should have like actually done some coffee tonight so I could remember. I keep having a couple like thoughts that comes in. This is where the reps will help. But oh God, what was I gonna ask you? It was good. It's gone. Oh well. Shit on the beer. Do you want to do some rapid fire? I got a couple rapid fire questions for you.
I want rapid fire, but I also
Here,
want
let's fin.
so
Yeah,
I want to propose something for the future for you.
let's hear it. Let's go.
I feel like you need to have a homie of the week.
In terms of like saying your homie, like who's the home guy that's gonna score 100?
Yes.
That requires work. Can I be honest with why I'm not gonna do that? I love that idea. I actually
Okay.
kind
Yeah.
of thought my actual goal is I would love to chunk out, even though it'll only be released once a week. I
Hmm.
want to have like one day or two where I just get like four of these recorded. So that I can make like the hardest thing. People are gonna hear this in a couple hours. Like this is being recorded Thursday. I'm staring at my clock. It's at 9:33
Right.
right now.
Yeah.
This is kind of cutting it close. I meant to DM you. I had some family stuff going on. Fortunately, I'm very, very happy to say the family stuff all turned out unbelievably well. We thought my mom had cancer. And so we were literally, I'll just say the story, whatever. This is so we're homies.
Yeah.
There's no anything.
Yeah.
Um,
We're all
I
family here.
was I was setting lineups in a hospital on Tuesday morning, thinking my mom was going in for lung surgery, and the surgeon came in and said that they I guess yeah, I don't know anything medical, but they did a scan, they saw like a node, and then a month later we're in to get operated on. They do one final CAT scan, and they're like, it disappeared. They're like, so literally, she's in the gurney, I'm in this table, and she's like, you guys can go home. Or like, she's still got an IV in her.
Yeah.
So it was a weird week, but yeah,
That's
my like
crazy.
it was awesome,
Well, great
amazing,
news. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely amazing news. But I say all that to go. I don't like recording these on Thursday night. I want to have these stocks because I do think the one cool thing about a podcast, and I've heard this over and over again from some of the people that do it really, really well, is the expectation. Friday morning, if people like are enjoying this show,
Yeah.
they're gonna make their walk. They expect to pull this up, whether it's on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever, to open it up and go, this is what I do on my Friday mornings, and this is the show I'm going to put on. Hopefully,
Right.
it's not complete shit. Like, hopefully, hope. Let's be real. For some of us that listen to long form content that like look forward to it, you're just like hoping like, I really hope it's a good episode. I don't want to turn up.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So it makes sense that you don't want to do homies of the week. I assume you're also not even going to touch current events, announcements, any
I
of
mean,
that
I think
stuff.
it comes up. I think it comes up in the course of conversation. Of course, like not gonna like not do it.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think some of the I think that that's where this content, hopefully can be different. 6 months from now it could be. I made a 6 month commitment, by the way, to myself too. So I have a list. I have 24 people that I know. I've reached out to almost all of them. 24 weeks, 6 months. Get through it. Let's see how this all goes. But yeah, I just don't want to be married to anything with it. I
Yeah.
feel like, on like a solar data stream, um, if a big news comes out and Laird, had a great guest on, he was super excited, but like massive news drops, he's like, all right, I got to talk about this.
Right.
This is a live stream. This is all the
Right.
people are thinking
This is
about.
what
Like,
people want to hear about right now.
right. Like, I can think of a few specifically Sober Andrews, which I remind me to ask you a follow up question on Sober Andrews when I get done with this. But a
Yeah.
couple of Sober Andrews episodes where I'm just excited about you guys just talking about nonsense and just I enjoy that type of content. And it was like a massive news drop, and you and Laird are having to react to it. I'm like, this is not what I want Andy Black here for. I want Andy here to make me crack up, and you guys just to go back and forth and be ridiculous. Like that's what I look forward to on a Thursday. I didn't want to hear all this news. Like I love you guys. It's still done in a good format, but that's not what I want out of Silver Andrews.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the same deal here. I just want this to be like more of a laid back, like here's a convo. Let's try to learn a little bit more about,
Just get the
again,
homies together.
just getting random, people that are, people that I know of that are really cool, have likely a good story to tell, but guess what? They just never really told it. And let's
Right.
go from there. So
Yeah.
Evan Andrews follow up.
Okay.
Do you think people get a so what percent actually this is a better way to say it. What percentage of people get sour Andrews?
What do you mean by get so dangerous?
Mm, if you don't get it, then you don't get it.
Uh, ugh. Um, I'll bet there's a generation of people, and I think I've heard somebody make this comment. I don't remember who it was. I don't know if it was Chani. It was someone younger than me for sure. And they were just like, well, I don't really get their humor because they talk a lot about a lot. It's like dad, like honestly, like a lot of this stuff is like
Dad
dad
humor.
jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dad jokes and very like Americanized as well. So like
Yeah.
if you're younger generation in the UK,
You're like, I don't
you
really
might
get it.
not pick anything up. Like Larry
And
today made a not a family, a Price is Right,
yep, yep.
like a
I
joke
heard
joke
that.
about the Price is Right.
You know
And I
what's
was
funny?
like,
He did that.
uh-huh.
Literally, you stayed home from school, and your gift was you got to watch Price is Right.
Right. Like every American has heard that before. It's like, "Oh, you're sick today. I guess you're watching Price is Right, huh?"
It was
But
literally like appointment viewing, though. If you were
right,
home, I think it was either 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. You were gonna have it on damn Price is Right. Like that's how it
right.
went over here.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was good, but no, I don't think people get sober injuries because every once in a while, I'll hear through the grapevine like, man, a lot of people want us to stay on top. It's like, no, no, that's not the point. That's literally the point is that there's not a point. Which again, I'm stealing a little bit of that for this format, but that's what it's being sold as. Is just hey, the people that are talking about sober is going to every once in a while pop up, and then other stuff's going to pop up, and we'll have a good time.
Yeah, and I think the fun aspect of that is like so rare is the topic that brings us together. But, it is fun to learn about like the human side of things.
Well,
Like for instance, I assume you're having Sean on at some point. Like, how did Sean get into Sean's never talked about any of this stuff. How did he get into like the
he,
gambling world and the DFS world and
yeah,
um uh yeah, just like some of that stuff would be interesting.
how many? I'm going to embarrass you, so whatever. How you know how many hours are in a week for this joke to work, which is already not going to work. I need to know that. However
Um
many hours in the week are Sean's working more than that in a week. Once his that season's over, then we can have him on. But it's also like a couple of the FIFA guys, right? Right now, like I think I haven't played a video game in so long, but I think FIFA just dropped. Like that's all they're full court press FIFA stuff,
Gotcha.
which makes sense.
Right.
Um, I remember my point that I was going to say earlier, and then we'll do rapid
Yeah.
fire and let you go.
Yep. Yep.
Um, you were talking about like with the exit strategies. I can't remember exactly what you said, but oh, I think just like how you would have a hole in Bundesliga and you haven't filled it.
Right.
What are your thoughts on like people taking a break?
Mm. Break in what regard?
I'm so
Not
rare.
setting not setting lineups?
So that was the original thought, but I personally took a break of about 3, 4 months where I just didn't buy, just set the lineup. Just
Mhm.
if they worked out, that's fantastic. If I hit a DNP or I don't, it's like it's all right. And
Yeah,
yeah, it was really refreshing. It was really good.
my perspective would just be if you need to do that, then you need to do that, and you should do that. I would say still set your lineups, use sorare data, hit the suggest button,
It's just
slap
go.
it in there, be done with it. Take the 10 minutes of your day or whatever. Um,
We got the
um,
button now too, so you just hit the button
right.
and it's gone.
Now, like for me personally, I've not got to the point where I didn't enjoy the
Really,
game.
you
I've
haven't
not
gotten to
hit
a
that.
that's see that's fantastic. I did.
It's
And the
insane,
funniest
right?
the
Am I
fun
just nuts?
no, no, you aren't. I just it probably shows like a healthy level though that you had with it too.
Or it just shows that I have a highly addictive uh personality, like a uh
Maybe.
like an abusive almost relationship with the game
Yeah,
in a way.
but I mean, we all had it where DNP ruined our weekend, but are you at the situation where DNP ruins your weekend very often now?
I think I've played enough poker to where oh, they spike that on the river. Okay, I move on with my life. Never
It's
get too high, never get too low.
you know what's amazing? The going back to poker, that we remember every like insane river loss. Like,
The all rounders quote, huh?
but it's the truth. But
Yeah.
you can't remember when you did it to the other guy. You're like, I deserved it. I outplayed him that hand. That was my
I've never
justified good luck on the river.
I've never bought into that quote because especially on like the solar side, like I can name some DNPs that killed lineups, but I can definitely tell you the 5 players that were in like my best lineups for sure.
Oh no, actually I completely agree with you there because like I can still remember the events that lead up to like certain wins. Like when I went
Mhm.
underdog, like I remember there had to be Andre Blake had to concede,
Yeah.
and he conceded in like the 90th minute, and I just remember like being like thrilled about it. So yeah, and
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
totally
we're like Armani saving that PK, like that was crazy.
but guess what? That was like that was for like 23rd place, and it meant so much. That's still the greatest. If anybody doesn't know, like that's been a little running joke. There's a one of my first ever like decent placements. I think I got like 23rd in All Star Rare, and Franco Armani conceded a penalty, conceded it, so he got the negative decisive. The guy scores the penalty. Armani dives the wrong way, and this is before Solar Data's live scoring. It would have been so much better, Andy, because I would have sent you, what a save! He didn't save it. Opta gave him a save. Andy, myself, Laird, probably Sean, maybe a couple other people. We're all just watching until like Tuesday, just expecting it to get removed.
They never
Rewards paid
touched it.
out.
Yeah. The best part was the screenshot that we saved. We all have the screenshot. He's
The-
diving that way. The ball's going that way.
it's so
And
good.
he gets the save, baby.
I really wish we had the server data notifications. What a save! And then I'm like because I rarely watch the games too, and I like screenshot you. He saved it, and you're like, he did not.
Yeah.
All right, I got a couple rapid fires. Oh god, I don't even
Oh,
like I don't even like them. I wrote these 3 weeks ago when I knew I was gonna have you on. I don't even love them that much, but we're just gonna go with them.
yeah.
Red, yellow card or red card?
Hmm. Yellow. Do you want reasons?
Go for it.
Yeah. I like yellows. Uh, I like the warning aspect. Hey, what? Check yourself. Like we all need that in our life. We
I
all
get
need to
it.
be checked. We don't need to be immediately thrown out on the street.
Fair enough.
Check yourself.
I had you down for a red card there, so I like it. I'm already for a championship win. Santos Laguna or City? St. Louis City, for those who don't get the reference.
I'm gonna throw a little curveball at you on this one, just
Santos?
because of how absurd it would be. Santos Laguna,
There we go. Goalie clean sheet or an outfielder 100.
dude.
If you could choose
I'll be
one going
I'll
into a
be
weekend,
honest, man. It's messed up, but give me the clean sheet.
I knew you would say that.
Yeah,
Pineapple or mango?
mango. Yeah.
Knew that one. Laird or Jimmer?
Come on.